finally, Mindy, finally, the day has come. Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. Don't forget to check out my website, La Vida Rosa Style, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, y'all, this is my second time filming this, but just know I'm a little irritated. You know, I don't like to do videos when I'm irritated because I don't like for things to be mean-spirited. I already was mad at everybody mad at everybody on this show when I originally watched it, so I'm trying my best not to be in my feelings about everything, but we'll see. Okay, let's start with Austin and Jess. Now, when we first see them, they're on a date. And the date is going well until they start talking about Austin having to travel for his job. Now see, y'all gonna have to explain to me down below what was going on with this, because I'm really confused. Austin said he would have to travel two weeks out of the month, which wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for like up to 10 days. So I think where a lot of my confusion is coming in, it's like, what is his occupation? What does he do for a living? Because I think I missed that somewhere along the way. I think I remember him saying he was an engineer, but y'all let me know down below, why does he have to travel so much? Because I didn't understand that. And Jess was upset because they barely see each other now. She works long hours at the hospital, so I can understand why she was in her feelings about that, because I would be a little bit upset about that too. Like, why? That's a lot. 2 weeks out of the month, 10 days apiece. That's majority of the month right there. 10 days, that's 20 days out of a month, and y'all already don't see each other. But on the other hand, if this is what this man has to do to get to where he, you know, needs to be career wise, sometimes when you're low on the totem pole, you have to bite the bullet and, you know, do the footwork for the higher ups. And maybe when he becomes a higher up, he won't have to travel as much. But this is definitely going to be a strain on their marriage, because, you know, Jess might as well be someone that travels, because she be gone all day, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, she be tired when she come home, I'm sure. So I can understand why she was kind of like in her feelings over that one. But girl, do you want him to work or not? Now, if you want a house husband, I guess you could tell him to stay home, but other than that, this man gotta work. Jess is still harping on this, you know, I love you phrase. Like, she needs to hear it because she feels it, but she doesn't want to be the first one to say it. She doesn't want to be vulnerable, put herself out there. I think Jess brought this up again because it's like, well, now you need to make it up to me. Go ahead and say I love you so we can work through this whole travel thing. And Austin is not budging. Look, I'm not mad at Austin. Like, a lot of people just, why won't he say it? Austin wants to be sure. He's not someone that says that word lightly. I can appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? They've only known each other for a month, and I do feel like he does love her, but he just doesn't want to, like, rush into saying that word, and I'm not mad at him about it. He lets her run things a lot of times, but in this instance, he's putting his foot down, and I'm not mad at Austin. Hold your ground, Austin. And I feel like when he finally does say it, he's gonna mean it, and it's gonna mean more than you pushing him to say it. I mean, I feel like he shows you that he cares about you. So I'm sorry, I just can't. Okay, let's move on to Taylor and Brandon. Look, I'm just gonna say this. I feel like Brandon and Taylor are kind of going through the motions. I feel like both of them are checked out, like they're acting like they're not. A lot of people was like, they're sticking together for this check, they're gonna make it to the end because of the check. I could believe that, because it just feels so forced. The conversations just feel like, especially Brandon is very like, he's just there, you know what I'm saying? And then Taylor, she was pointing out the fact that he didn't compliment her to the end of the night. I mean, he complimented you though. I don't mind you telling him, yeah, I want a compliment. There's nothing wrong with that. But harping on it and beating a dead horse like that, that's what's getting old in this relationship, is you beating a dead horse, but you don't ever want to apologize when you wrong. So apparently he moved back into the apartment. the dog still punking him. First of all, I'm sorry. And I know the dog lovers are probably going to be mad at me about this, but I don't want no dogs in my bed. Out. Not in the bed. That's a big old dog too. That dog is like the size that they are. And he's like laying in the middle of them. No, ma'am. But I still think Brandon need to put some bass in his voice and tell that dog to get down. Get up off me. Like, don't let the dog punk you. It's your house too. Don't let that dog punk you. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of what Taylor is waiting for him to do. And when she brought up the whole compliments thing, he's like, you know, reopening up and it's gonna take some time. And I could totally see that. Like, you're not gonna jump straight into lovey-dovey. And I think that's what Taylor wants him to do, is to like jump straight into, oh, kisses and hugs and I love you and romance. And y'all have been through a lot. Like, y'all have been through a lot, and I feel like y'all are trying to force something. Y'all trying to force a square peg into a round hole. It's not working. And then at the end, they play this game where, you know, if you pull a card, let's say you pull an 8, you're supposed to give it 8 compliments. So he pulled like a 4 or something and gave her 4 compliments, and she's like, I need more compliments. And then when it was her turn to give 8 compliments, she could only give 4. So I'm just like, girl, that's a double standard. If you deserve compliments, he do too. Like, at least some. And at one point he said, well, I guess I'm happy that we got matched. I'm like, if y'all don't get y'all lackadaisical attitudes up out of here, I'm tired of it. Y'all, why are y'all together? Why are y'all still together? Why? Why? I don't get it. Why are y'all still together? It doesn't make any sense. It don't seem like neither one of y'all care for each other for real. Derek and Katie. Leave this man. Leave him. Leave him. Like, don't keep stringing him along. You don't really want to be with him. I'm sorry. I just don't believe Katie really want to be with Derek. Period. Everything this man do, she criticized. She point out his flaws. It's like he got to tiptoe, walk on eggshells around Katie, because we don't know what's gonna set her off. Anything could set her off. We kind of got a little bit more of some insight on Katie and Derek. Both of them come from divorced homes, and both were forced to grow up fast because of it. Derek had to forfeit his childhood, so therefore he embraces his dreams and that childlike, you know, mentality as far as, you know, having fun, and, you know, he embraces that side of himself. And Katie did the exact opposite. And a part of me feels like her mother might have treated her more like a friend instead of an actual child, because she did say, like, when her parents would get to arguing, she would have to break it up. She would have to get in the middle and stop them from, you know, I guess physically fighting. And so that is very traumatic, and I'm sure that did make her grow up fast. So I picked up on that last episode, like, you don't have any dreams of your own, so now you want to say that he shouldn't have any dreams, when in actuality I feel like they could be a good balance for each other. She's very extreme on, you know, not having dreams and being serious and, you know, not playing games, and he's like on the opposite end of the spectrum. Even though he has his life set up, he has a good job, you're on his health care. It's not like he's like an irresponsible man, but he embraces that, you know, fun, silly side. And I feel like you should, you know, you could maybe add more structure to his life, and he could help you explore your fun side and help you see that you can have goals outside of the ordinary. Derek moved around a lot as a child, so he didn't have like a childhood home or a childhood, you know, place that he could take her to, but his mom had basically saved all of his mementos from when he was a child. And, you know, he had poems, he had pictures, he had things like that. Like, really, they gave you insight on Derek as a young man growing up. And, you know, it was supposed to be a cute, fun moment. Like, I would think if I would go see my partner's, you know, childhood, like, stuff, it would make me soften up and laugh and, you know, kind of poke at him a little bit, like, oh, you was a nerd, or you was this, or you was that, you know what I'm saying? It really kind of like it was supposed to be a special bond. It was supposed to be a sweet bonding moment. But once again, Katie took it as another opportunity to question whether he's been in love. Okay, so he wrote a poem when he was in like the 9th or 10th grade about love. And that made her question, well, you sure you weren't in love? It sounded like you was in love to me. You ain't never talked to me like that. And I'm just like, girl, Katie, he has been one of the most romantic men on this show in general. Like, not even just from this season. I feel like he has put in a lot of effort to be romantic. I think he has been trying to romance you, and it's just not enough, and you don't seem to be doing anything in return but criticizing this man. Yeah, I mean, Derek has his ways, but overall I don't think he deserves all that criticism that he gets. I really think he's a catch, and I mean, he has a good job, healthcare, he's tall, handsome, has, I mean, a fun personality. I like corny jokes, especially from someone who I like. So I don't know, I just leave this man alone. Let him go find somebody who will actually appreciate him. I really hope that Derek doesn't become jaded from this relationship, because I feel like he is putting in his all. He's trying his hardest, but how can you when someone is sabotaging the whole thing? Girl, go on with that ex that don't want you for real. Because some people are more comfortable in chaos and dysfunction than someone that actually cares about you and treats you right. Now, if you had these next two men coming up and you were snapping on him consistently, I would be standing up and giving you a round of applause. With that being said, let's move on to Meka and Michael. So when I think about Meka and Michael, the first thing that pops in my head is this quote. I don't know who said it, but they said, an apology without changed behavior is manipulation. You keep apologizing, but you keep lying. And that is an issue. That is an issue. So Meka, trying to be vulnerable, trying to be soft and sweet the way he said he wanted her to be, sits him down and is like, look, I'm going to show you what I make. I'm going to show you my pay stubs. Here's mine, and let me hold your hand. Now show me yours. The whole time Michael is fidgeting, nervous, can't keep eye contact. It was very convenient for Michael to have just started his job, so he doesn't have any pay stubs. So he pulled out an offer letter from his job. The problem with Michael is you got the wrong one. You got the wrong one, because Meka, she's not, and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody else who doesn't stand up for themselves, but Meka is not going to sit back and let you walk all over her. She's not going to sit back and let you lie to her. She's going to call you out every single time. This irritated people in the beginning, but I'm so glad that Meka did it, because she's not questioning him for no reason. She's not being, you know, she's not picking on Michael. She wants the truth like anybody would. So Michael pulls out this offer letter, and the numbers aren't adding up. Things are not making sense. And Meka pulls out her calculator real quick. She whipped it out real quick. And she also says, look, I have a degree in math. So you trying to pull some wool over my eyes with numbers is not cool. So she asked him to write it down again. And actually, I'm kind of glad I'm doing this video over, because Married at First Sight fan on Instagram, they posted the actual offer letter and the different salaries he wrote down below. And the first one was like 90,000, and then he went down to 65, and then he went down to 60. And when he wrote that 60, Meka was cut. Montre. I told you I would sit here the whole time. But if this man gonna keep on lying, like, I feel like it was fighting. Like, Meka was fighting mad. When she said Montre, I low-key was like, well, who is Montre? Where did Montre come from? You know, anytime they start talking to the producers off screen, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like, she was over it. She was like, look, you're not finna. Michael is living his best life lying to me. I'm not, if you want him, y'all want a liar, y'all go in there and get a liar. I'm not sticking around with him. Like, she was talking so fast. I could barely keep up with what she was saying, but I was totally here for Meka snapping on Michael, not dealing with it. I'm not going to sit in here while you lie consistently. He's sitting up here looking irritated, confused, like doesn't know what's going on. Michael, you know you're lying. That's the whole thing. Michael has admitted to lying multiple times, apologized for lying multiple times. The next thing we see, they're sitting down with Dr. Viviana, and it's like the only time Michael really admits somewhat of the truth or admits to lying is in front of the experts, when they have to pull it out of him. They hold his feet to the fire, and then the next thing you know, he starts talking about his mom and starts talking about how he was adopted. But from what I understand, your aunt adopted you at 3. You know what I'm saying? I know that's probably a tough pill to swallow when you actually find out. And I could see how that could affect him psychologically, because later his sister said that he used to get teased, or you know, people didn't like him for who he actually was, so he would make up lies and fantasies in order to seem cool or whatever, because you know, he didn't have a father, because his mother gave him up for adoption. That really affected him mentally. I totally understand that. But if you know this is a serious issue for you, you need to go get help. Seek help for that, because that's another thing Meka said. He needs help. He needs help that I can't give him. And I hate for every time we turn around, the experts or his sister's like, well, you should help him through it. Why should I have to help him through that? He needs help that I cannot give him. That's the job for someone that has a professional degree in that. Meka has her degree in math. We already saw her calculate these salaries and they didn't add up. I also understand that all of Michael's lies have been to impress Meka, especially when it comes to salary. In the beginning, Meka said she didn't want to be with a man who didn't make as much or more than her. And so he said he was going to be a principal, and principals make good money. And so when he turned it down, he also said he had to scramble to find a job. So I'm thinking he's embarrassed of his current salary. But I think at this point, Meka would have been okay for you to just tell her your real salary. You know, even if you make less than her, she just wants the truth at this point. And I honestly think she would have been willing to move past it had you actually told her your real salary. And when she went to go meet with Michael's sister, I was over this whole conversation, because I understand that's your brother. You don't want to say anything negative about your brother. I get that. I would rather you be like, look, I'm just uncomfortable with this conversation. I don't really want to discuss it, instead of trying to defend Michael constantly lying. I would rather you have said, I don't even want to do this. She was just like, you know, maybe you could talk with him and get him to realize he doesn't have to be perfect, since he's so used to putting on a front for other people. He was constantly rejected, so he builds a wall. We get that, but that's no excuse for lying, period. So this whole mother thing, I'm thinking maybe he got a lot of special treatment because he was adopted. At the end of the day, he didn't have to confront these lying ways, and now that he's married, this woman has to deal with it. And y'all still low-key trying to defend him. Either get help or leave the sob story at home, because I'm tired of it. Finally, Mindy. Finally, the day has come. So at the beginning of this episode, Mindy is sitting down with her friends, and their friends are wondering, why are you still with this man who don't want to be with you? He done showed you over and over and over and over and over and over that he don't want to be with you. Why are you still here? I know they wanted to say that, but they were being as nice as possible because they are her friends. And then finally, Zach has told Mindy what her lie was about. And it turns out that Mindy's ex texted her after her honeymoon and wanted to pick her up from the airport. Mindy did not oblige. You know what I'm saying? She didn't allow him to do that. And she actually had her friend come pick her up from the airport. So if this were a healthy relationship, I would say Mindy probably should have told Zach about this. But Zach, you didn't even come move in with Mindy after y'all got back from the honeymoon. Why is it that she had to get picked up from someone else? Why were y'all not together? See, that's why I don't feel bad for a man texting her asking to pick her up when her husband wasn't even with her being picked up from the airport? Why are y'all not together coming from a honeymoon? Yeah, I don't care anymore after that. Really, he was just trying to find something to hold over her head and a reason why he hasn't moved in, a reason why he's not being a good husband. It's really a cop-out, and he's a jerk and manipulative to try to find like some information on her and try to say, "Ooh, I heard this from so-and-so. I heard it from one of our mutual friends," or whatever he was trying to, whatever story he came up with, because it wasn't the truth. So anyway, she tells this to her friends. One of her friends was like, "Look, whenever I picked you up and you told me that, I mentioned it to Lindsay." Thank God for her friends. Thank God for that particular friend too, because without her, I think Mindy probably would still be with Zach. I think without Mindy's friends, if she didn't have real supportive friends that were honest with her and called this man out, I think Mindy would still be with Zach if he would have her. You know what I'm saying? So thank God for her, because she was able to connect the dots and see Lindsay was the one who told your business to your husband after they've been talking behind your back. And Zach completely lied about who told him that. And so from that point, Mindy was done. Thank God. Thank God, because it was embarrassing. He had publicly embarrassed her too many times, and this time it was right in front of her friends. Because that's embarrassing. Can you imagine sitting with your friends and finding out from them that your husband has been lying to you, using information that your other supposed good friend gave him? So Lindsay was done. So basically, Zach was protecting Lindsay. So when she actually confronted him about the information and where he got it, he just casually was like, "Well, I didn't want you to think I was being influenced by Lindsay." You were influenced by her. I mean, he just casually admitted to lying like it was nothing. And I'm like, what is up with the men on this show and acting like lying is not a deal breaker and not major, and like it's okay to lie to your wife? Like, what is up with these men that have no respect for the institution of marriage, period? Y'all took this as a joke. You came on this show for whatever kind of exposure you thought you was gonna get. She didn't do nothing to deserve none of this nasty passive aggressiveness that he been throwing her way. He's been a jerk to her. She was sitting up here crying and pouring her heart out and asking him, like, why would you do this? Why would you talk to my friend behind my back? I mean, you embarrassed her in front of her friends and the world, really. And he was just so cold and callous about it. Wow, I never thought it would come to this point. Yeah, because you thought Mindy was so weak she would put up with anything that you did. Because I'm sure he wanted to make it to the end and get the money. Now, somebody told me that he possibly still gets the money because he's not the one who broke it off. That's why he was happy, low-key, when she broke up with him. So I don't know. Maybe that's how that works. I don't know. But he definitely was, I mean, he looked jolly. He was giddy. When she told him to get his stuff, like, he might as well have skipped out of there. He was so... like, he did not look upset whatsoever. And Mindy was crying. And you are the biggest jerk in the world to not even apologize. The least you could say, look, I'm sorry, it didn't work out. He didn't even apologize. And was basically acting like his lies were just miscommunication. So when Dr. Viviana came and met with Mindy, she had the biggest grin from ear to ear when she found out that she broke up with him. Like, she was just like, really? Really, girl? She was like one of your good girlfriends that's excited that you finally let this man go. I have been there. I have been that friend like, girl, really? I'm sorry to hear that. Anyway, Dr. Viviana was like, you know, he definitely betrayed you on pretty much all levels. So you might as well just cut it off. I'm so happy for you. Then she goes and meets up with Zach. And Zach pretty much was acting like it was all good at first. And she was like, but didn't Mindy break up with you? Why are you acting like y'all still cool? And so he was basically like, he basically was trying to put it all on Mindy. Like, yeah, she broke up with me and it's pretty much on her. And it's like, but didn't you lie? But he was like, no. And I was like, Zach, you straight up lied. If nothing else, you lied because you lied about who told you that her ex texted her. It was Lindsay. And you said you made up this fictional man that told you. So yeah, you're a liar. And it's like, you invested all this time into Lindsay. Phone calls, text messages. Y'all, you know, for all we know, y'all talking all day and night. Because Lindsay, in case y'all didn't know, Lindsay doesn't live there. She lives elsewhere. So for all we know, they could be talking all day and night, texting all the time, and you barely give Mindy the time of day unless it's on camera. So good riddance. Go ahead and get gone. The only thing is, I wish Mindy would have never shed any tears in front of this man. He didn't deserve it. If I felt a cry coming on, if I felt a tear coming, I would have kicked him out sooner. Like, if I felt like myself about to well up, get out. Get out. I don't never want to see your face again. Get your little 2 pieces of clothes and get up out of my house. And then I would have started crying. I would have never let him see me shed a tear. The only time he would have seen me shed a tear might have been on camera, when he watched it on TV, period. He would have never got that out of me in person. Because he didn't even give you anything in this relationship. Nothing. He didn't even give the bare minimum of what a husband should give. Good riddance. I'm done with him. And you know what, Zach? You gonna get this back. I hope you know. When you fall in love with somebody and you are head over heels in love with them, if you're able to love someone more than you love yourself, you're not going to get it back. What goes around comes around. So anyway, you guys, let me know what you think down below about each of these relationships. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.